I don't have hemophilia, which means that my blood clots normally. Hemophilia is a rare disorder in which individuals' blood does not clot properly. It is said to be a recessive sex-linked trait, which means that it is predominantly males who inherit the disease, and they do so from their mothers. I am going to go through a hypothetical situation in which a couple is looking to have children. First, we'll need to go through some basic genetic terminology, and then we'll go through that hypothetical pedigree or family history of the individual couple, and see the probability of that individual couple having children that have the disease or not. The first things we need to talk about are terminology. So a phenotype is actually what the trait of interest looks like. So for this example, whether or not the individual has hemophilia. The genotype then is the genetic label that is applied to each individual as related to the phenotype. Each individual has two sets of chromosomes. Each chromosome codes for different genes. For the hemophilia gene, which is found on the X chromosome, there are two options. There's either normal, in which blood clots normally, or there's the hemophilia gene. Because it's sex-linked, males who have only one X chromosome and a Y chromosome will have whatever gene, or will have the trait, whichever is coded for with the single X chromosome. So whether it be normal, or capital H for this situation, or whether they have the disease, which would be a lowercase h, that's how we can determine their genotype. Females, however, have two X chromosomes, which means that as long as they have a single X chromosome with the dominant H allele, then they will have normal blood clotting factors. If they have two recessive alleles for the hemophilia gene, then they will have the disease. Then we have a pedigree, which shows the familial relationships between husband and wife, parent and child, and between siblings. The circles show females and the squares show males, and those individuals that are shaded have the disease or trait of interest. This is the hypothetical pedigree for two individuals, Katie and Joe, who are looking to have children and are curious what the probability will be that their children have the disease. As you can see, Katie has a brother and an uncle with the disease. Himself and his uncle have the disease as well. Disease is sex-linked. We can label each of the males in this family. Of course, they have the lowercase h, and if they do not have the disease, then they have the capital H. After that, we can deduce what the females have. They are said to be the females in this family have the disease, which means they have at least one dominant H chromosome on their X chromosome. So the carriers have a single capital H and a single lowercase h. Those who do not have children with the disease cannot be specifically determined without further testing, so we mark them with question marks. So now we assume she has a capital H, what the probability of her children will be, or if she has a lowercase h, what the probability will be. We do this using a Punnett square. It shows the likelihood of Katie and her assumed genotype, and Joe and his known genotype, as they are distributed to probable children. This shows that Katie, if she were a carrier, and Joe's children would have a 50% chance of having the trait, whether they were male or female. If Katie, however, was completely dominant, meaning she had no small h on her X chromosome to donate to her children, then there would be a 100% chance that none of the children would have the trait. With this being said, it can be seen how this disease is recessively inherited. Next time that someone comes to you with a pedigree and asking if their children may or may not have a specified trait, you'll know what to do. You remember the terminology that I taught you, and then you go through the pedigree and assign genotypes. And finally, you take those genotypes and plug them into the Punnett square to deduce what the probable children might have. Thank you.